Doing West Coast, what? It's about almost 7:30. East Coast, we're about almost 10:30. Say hi to Bobby. Bobby says hi. Anyways, the secret to everything, the key to everything, balance. Okay, we're done. No, but seriously, if we need to actually drag this on, I want you to think about it. I want you to think about the cycles of your life. Not somebody telling you how it is, but I want you to sit back and I want you to think about it for yourself. I want you to think about it. I want you to sit there and I want you to ruminate on it. Regardless how old you are, just pay attention to the ebbs and flows of your life and understanding that all of us, all of us repeat the same cycles over and over and over again. That's pretty much where the whole quotation of flow of the universe comes from, right? It's because we're born into these cycles, and it's because of these cycles that we set ourselves in our own cycles. This is what my life is going to be like. This is how it's going to go. The only difference, and you can't break out of any cycle that you're in. It's a natural ebb and flow of everything. The seasons of your life, right? You flow through everything. You, in a nutshell, and I've said this again and again and again, I've never made it the focal point of a talk before, but we encompass every single archetype throughout our lives. We are all the empath. We are all the narcissist. We are all this. We are all the aggressor, the victim, the villain, the king, the queen, the hermit. How you guys doing? That we all encompass this. That this is the flow of the universe. This is the ebb and flow of everything. The only thing that we can control, the only thing, is how we deal with it, is how we look at it. Because in our own mental preparation, that is how you yourself can take that and put it into action, put it out into the universe, whatever slogan you want to use, right? What this comes down to on this channel is practical use, breaking down all the nitty gritty of religion and symbology and everything else, and just showing you it's simply just telling you in very fantastical terms how to live a productive, genuine, authentic, good life. That's all it has been ever. And how people cannot see that, how people cannot understand that, I will never understand. People want to take the blame and put it on everybody else instead of seeing what they themselves can do in that situation. Because we've been conditioned to make ourselves the victim. We've been conditioned to blame the other person. We've been conditioned to think that it's one person against the entire goddamn world. This is the conditioning that we were born into. This is the conditioning that we went through without even realizing it while we were children. Because we mirror and we mimic what we see. It's not authentic. It's not genuine. These people literally, and you guys all know now, even as being a kid, how many of your parents actually had it fucking figured out when you were a kid? How many of you are still like, okay, I don't know what the fuck to do, but I'm just going to do this because that's what I saw them do and it worked for them? How many? Be honest. Not a lot of people know what the fuck to do. Not a lot of people have that drive. Not a lot of people have that willpower to stand out and lead the fucking way. Right? Everybody, as much as they don't want to admit it, which is why I always lead with this. 99% of people are sheep. They have no willpower, no purpose, and no drive to get anything done. They want to be led. They want to be told what to do because life is easier when you're told what to do. It's a simple fact. It's why a lot of people think the human condition craves subjugation. It craves like a communist federalist outlook. And I would argue the nationalist outlook that we have here in America is simply a nicer form of communism. You still have the chains on, you just don't know you do. I would argue that through and through. I would genuinely argue that. Because we're all taught the same thing. We're not taught to find ourselves when we come into this world. If you're told that, your parents are amazing. You got lucky. Because a lot of us didn't have that. Didn't have that luxury. A lot of us were born into families with people that don't know what the fuck to do. They're all followers trying to act like a leader. Look at my family, for example. My grandfather built the second largest heating and air conditioning company on the West Coast. That was the second largest until 2008 when the crash and everything came falling down, which was roughly 10 years after he died. Did a pretty good job, right? But everybody that's been in charge of that since, they're all pretenders. They don't know what the fuck to do. They don't know how to do what he did because every single time somebody steps in, it gets dropped lower and lower. And I've talked about on here how the essential government and big business and everything else is trying to shove out the entrepreneur, trying to shove out my grandfather's vision, trying to shove out people like him. They don't want a free state. They don't want a free economy. They don't want that. So, the first step is admittance. The first step is admitting that you are not acting like yourself. Because you have to admit that you have not been yourself this entire time. And then you have to genuinely and authentically strive for that vision that you see in your head that is you. It doesn't matter what they told you to be. It matters what you see yourself as. That's how you find balance. That's how you find self-enlightenment. That's how you find inner power. It's how the lion comes out. Start being yourself. Fuck what they think. Fuck what anybody thinks. Most of us have to pretend in life because you need to be liked, to have friends, or else they talk shit about you and blah 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 blah. And you need to be liked to be able to do a job. Well, I'm living proof you don't need to be liked to do a job, because if you actually stand out and do a job better than anybody else, they have to put up with you. It's like, yeah, I'll sit back here. I'll wait for you guys. Keep fucking up. Let me know when you need me. Right? But not everybody's like that. But maybe you should be. Maybe you should sit down and you should look at yourself. Take a long, hard look. Right? Take a long, hard look. And start self-analyzing. Where does this come from? Where does that come from? Is that genuinely me? Is that genuinely me? And go on down the line. Get rid of the gunk. Get rid of the bullshit. Start asking the right questions. Do I really believe in God? Why do I believe in God? Why do I believe things are the way that they are? Was that put in my head, or is that a genuine question that I honestly have for myself? These are a lot of things people don't want to do. And then you want to stand up and pound your chest and act like the fucking man when you're just a fucking pretender. You're a mask wearer. You're playing somebody else's role that's meant for somebody else. But because you feel insignificant in your own life, you will not allow that person to step into where they actually fully need to be, because that makes you feel bad. Well, that's because you're not living genuinely. You didn't you didn't live your life genuinely to where you knew you should be because you wanted more than your station allowed. Think about that. Just think about that. You have imposter syndrome because you want more than what you're allowed to have. And because you want more than what you should have or what you're allowed to have, you start acting like not yourself. You start acting like somebody else so you can draw in that attention, so you can draw in that bullshit. And then you get further and further away, and then it's just, your whole life is just bullshit at that point. Think about it. But yet, when you're more balanced, when you're more honest with yourself, when you're more honest with everything else, Hermetic law, right? As above, so below. As within, so without. Everything in the macro reflects everything in the micro. Everything inside reflects everything outside. Think about it. Sleep on it. Tell me what you think.